Hello, I'm Mohsen Jamal and you watch Afghan News. The United States will remain in control of Afghanistan's highest-profile prison well beyond January 2012. U.S. military officials have said the transfer of the prison and its burgeoning population of detainees had been regarded as a critical marker of the war's endgame. But U.S. officials decided that the Afghan legal system is still too weak to permit the handover of the Parwan detention center, which now holds 2,600 inmates. The United States will now be unable to relinquish authority at Parwan until at least 2014, just as the last foreign troops are scheduled to leave Afghanistan. One U.S. official who spoke on condition of anonymity said the existence of the U.S. military prison near Bagram airfield has long been seen by Afghans as a sign of imperial overreach, and it has been singled out for criticism by President Hamid Karzai. A roadside bomb in southern Afghanistan tore through a minibus van on Saturday, killing 5 civilians, including 3 women. A government spokesman said the bomb hit the vehicle in the Grushk district of Helmand province on Saturday morning. Dawood Ahmadi, the provincial governor's spokesman, said Ahmadi blamed the enemies of peace and stability, a term often used by Afghan authorities to describe the Taliban. Taliban militants rely heavily on the use of roadside bomb as part of their nearly 9-year-long insurgency against Afghan and international troops in Afghanistan. Afghan government officials said they have recovered the bodies of 8 security troops 2 days after the men were kidnapped by insurgents in East Afghanistan. Provincial spokesman Shahidullah Shahid says the bodies of the 8, which include 5 policemen and 3 intelligence agents, were discovered Friday in Wardak province's Koti Ashuru area. Shahidi says the bodies were taken to Maidan Shah district early Saturday. Wardak provinces where 30 American troops, 7 Afghan soldiers and an Afghan interpreter died in the shoot down of their Chinook helicopter earlier in August. U.S. President Barack Obama and Afghan President Hamid Karzai on Friday discussed progress towards a security handover from U.S. to Afghan forces by 2014, the White House said in a statement. The 2 leaders, who spoke for 30 minutes via video conference, also discussed an upcoming meeting of foreign ministers of Muslim nations in Istanbul to discuss aid to drought and famine-hit Somalia. They also looked ahead to a December international conference in Bonn on Afghanistan's future and talked about their work together to forge a long-term strategic partnership. The White House said Obama and Karzai discussed progress by coalition and Afghan national security forces as security responsibility transitions towards a full Afghan lead in 2014, the statement said, adding that both leaders shared commitment to Afghan-led reconciliation and support for a strategy of regional engagement and agreed to maintain their close consultations going forward. U.S. officials have strongly rejected allegations in an independent UK study that a covert drone war in Pakistan has killed large numbers of civilians, saying the numbers are way off the mark. On Friday, U.S. officials slammed the London-based Bureau of Investigative Journalism reports, finding that there had been many more CIA attacks on alleged Al-Qaeda and Taliban targets and 4 more civilian deaths than previously reported. The report said that bombing raids by unmanned aircraft had killed up to 168 children in Pakistan over the last 7 years, but a senior U.S. official who spoke on condition of anonymity said that in the past year, in the neighborhood of 600 militants have been taken off the battlefield. A second U.S. official, who also asked not to be identified, dismissed the report as unfounded, saying intelligence agencies took precautions to avoid killing civilians and that the robotic aircraft can linger over a target to ensure accuracy. The London-based group said 291 CIA drone strikes had taken place in Pakistan since 2004, 8% more than previously reported, and that under President Barack Obama, there had been 236, one every 4 days. David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, has acquired the services of a US street crime expert to advise the UK government on gang violence after England's worst riots in decades left 5 people dead and city neighborhoods smoldering. William Breton, credited with curbing street crimes as police chief in New York, Los Angeles and Boston, on Friday said he would develop strategies on dealing with widespread rioting and gang culture. The fatal shooting by airstrike police of a 29-year-old black man, Mark Durgan, in Tottenham, North London, triggered the riots which have shocked Britons and sullied the country's image a year before it hosts the Olympic Games. Britain has worked with the British police at other times over the past 20 years. News of Britain's new rule came as courts in Britain charged almost 800 people with violence, disorder and looting, while more than 2,000 people have been arrested over the disorder that is spread through several cities in the country. Libya's opposition fighters are continuing their push to capture a strategic oil terminal in Brega, which is still in control of forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi. The rebels took over the residential zone of New Brega, located about 15 kilometers from the central oil terminal and port area on Thursday. Mohammed Zawawi, the opposition spokesman, on Friday said it was still not safe to go into the city. Troops loyal to Gaddafi are holding on to the oil facilities and firing rockets at rebel positions. At least 8 rebel fighters have been killed and another 25 wounded in the latest fighting. In Brussels, and NATO operations report said that among other targets in the country, airstrikes had hit an armed vehicle, a multiple rocket launcher and an artillery piece in the vicinity of Brega on Thursday. Security forces in Syria have again used deadly force to clamp down on protests as citizens gather across the country for Friday prayers and to call for the end of President Bashar al-Assad's government, according to activists and witnesses in the country. At least 23 people were reportedly killed in a number of cities and towns, including Doma, Aleppo, Homs, Hama, and Deir ez-Zor. Activists from the Syrian Local Coordinating Committee, a rights group, said in cities throughout the country, military and internal security troops attempted to surround mosques and seal off nearby roads in an effort to prevent residents from gathering for the weekly Friday protests that began roughly 5 months ago and have continued despite a bloody crackdown. Protesters have demanded an end to Assad's 11-year reign, with some even calling for his execution. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said on Friday Syria would be better off without Assad. It called on nations that buy oil or sell arms to Syria to cut those ties. Several hundred protesters have clashed with riot police in Cairo's Tahrir Square, defying Egypt's military rulers who are eager to prevent any demonstrations there since forcefully clearing a weeks-long sit-in by youth activists last week. The demonstrators called for a civil state after a visit by Egypt's ruling general, Field Marshal Hossein Tantawi. Brief clashes erupted as demonstrators pelted police with stones and water bottles, prompting a response in kind on Friday, but calm quickly returned as another group of demonstrators intervened, saying the army and the people are a single hand. The demonstration in favor of a civil state came as a counter to a July 30 rally that drew hundreds of thousands of Islamists to Tahrir in a show of support for what they called Egypt's Islamic identity. In the last but not the least, Norway appointed a 9-person commission Friday to investigate the attacks that killed 77 people last month, including the police response that has been criticized as slow. Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg, who gave the commission a year to submit a final report to him, said that the July 22nd commission's mandate is to lay out all relevant facts about what happened, unvarnished and honest. Since the July 22nd bombing and shootings, critics have called into question the speed and competence of the emergency response. Anders Behring Breivik, a 32-year-old Norwegian, admitted detonating a bomb at Norway's main government building and gunning down people at a Labour Party youth camp on a nearby island in what he saw as a blow against multiculturalism. And that's all for now. Thanks for joining us.